Tomorrow is going to be your first time coming to my parents' house. So are you worried? I have to work in the morning, so I won't be able to come along with you on that flight. But I'll be over later, so just hang out with my parents while you guys wait for me. I think they'll all have things for you to do there, and it'll be a good chance for you guys to talk about me behind my back.
Of course I'm a bit nervous. This will be my first time meeting your mom, as well as going to your parents' house in general. I really wish you were able to come with me on the flight over, though. I'll probably be sweating the whole flight just thinking about how things will go and if they'll be happy with me or not.
Well, even if I could come with, my mom told me that she wants to talk with you one-on-one for a bit. So I'm sorry, but she's going to get what she wants this time.
That right there makes me really nervous to see her. But I get it. This will be her first time seeing me as well. And since I have the day off work, there's no reason I can't go early and see her. But man, am I sweating over this.
You'll only be there for a few hours by yourself, so don't worry too much. And later in the day, your parents will be coming over, right? They'll have all of that business talk with my dad, so I'm sure that my mom knows not to get too out of control with you.
Yeah, that's the plan anyway. But it would be a whole lot better if they came over at the same time as me. At least then they could get all that business talk over with before you come, and then I won't have to feel as worried about what kind of interrogation they give me today.
Well, my dad's really looking forward to seeing you, Rose. He told me that he wants to show you around my hometown a little as well, before your parents come. And that he'd probably do that with you after picking you up from the airport, and before you all go back to the house. I think that'll help you relax a bit, and they're close to the beach, so you can probably go out and dip your feet in for a bit. And also, if you can become close with my mom, that would be wonderful. She is a bit rough on people at first, so I'm a little concerned about that. But if you do get to be really close, then I will never have to think about you both getting into fights, like mother-in-laws always get into on those TV dramas.
Telling me that now is only going to get my heart racing even faster. Now I feel even more like she'll find problems with me when I speak to her. Ugh. I should call them when I get to the airport, right? Then they'll come and pick me up from there, right?
They told me that they'd be waiting there before you even arrive, so you shouldn't have to wait for them to come get you. My mom and dad are really looking forward to seeing you. I'm sure when you get there, they'll have a sign with your name on it for you and everything.
Well, I hope that's true, and tell them thank you for waiting on me. But there's always the chance that the plane will be late, so maybe it's best they wait a little bit before coming.
Well, you could tell my parents that before you go then. They said they'll be tracking your flight, so they'll know the time it comes into the airport, even if there's a delay or anything like that. But if it'll relax you a little bit, you could tell them what to do. Anyway, have a safe flight tomorrow, okay?
Thank you, Nathan. And you too. As for the time you'll be arriving at the airport, that should be around 11 a.m., right? Good afternoon, Mom. Yes, that should be the right time. Could you please not call me Mom yet? I am not your mom or anything like that to you. Huh? Oh, right. I'm so sorry. Tomorrow is looking to be a very hot day here. And it's the 4th of July, a day in which families should be together, yet we have to come and get you. That'll take a lot of time and be a pain in the butt for me. What? Is that right? I'm really sorry about that. If you'd like, I can find a way to make it to your guys' house by myself. That might be the right move, Rose. Well, we'll see about that tomorrow. Understood. I'm sorry if me coming out tomorrow causes any troubles for you, but I look forward to seeing you all tomorrow. Rose, do you really think you can be married to my son? What? I'm sorry, but what do you mean by that? I assumed that since my son chose you, you'd be a very outstanding person. But you don't work for any major company, nor do you even have a proper job of your own. If anything, you're going to give up whatever income you have and become a housewife leeching off my son, right? Do you think I'll allow you to use my son and become a part of my family that way? I'm sure you have your eyes set on us because my husband runs his own company, am I right? Hold on for one moment. What are you talking about right now? I think you have some kind of misunderstanding because that's not at all what I planned for. So you're telling me you never knew that my husband has his own company? I know about that, but... There we go then. My son never listened to me about people like you being in this world, and that's because you already have a hold on him. What do you mean that there are people like me in this world? The trash that only looks to marry for others' money. You think I'm after your guys' money? I've been dating your son now for 3 years. I can understand you thinking something like that could be possible, but I am not that kind of person, Kelly. Who knows? But be aware that I have no plans of becoming family to you. However, if you say anything about this to my son, I'll make sure there's hell to pay. Don't you ever do anything to make my family upset, okay? I don't plan to say anything to upset your family, but for the time being, I look forward to seeing both you and your husband tomorrow. We haven't had the chance to meet one another yet, so it's great to see that we'll finally all be able to get to know each other. And since it appears there are a few misunderstandings, I'll try my best to clear everything up between us. I had planned to give you a call to let you know that I'm here. Where are you guys right now? I did come a bit early, so if you're not here just yet, don't worry. I'll be waiting a little bit for my bag to come out. We are not going to get you. What? I do not accept you as my family, and I will not let you be my son's wife. Are you really saying that you're not going to pick me up from the airport then? Also, you are aware that Nathan and I have already legally married one another and have our certificate, right? We had planned to come out to your guys' house for the 4th and we could celebrate as a family there. That doesn't mean a thing. I do not want you to be a part of this family. And that also means I don't approve of you being my son's wife. So, since you're just a stranger to me, you will not be getting any car ride back to my house. Why would anyone take a stranger back to their house anyway? If you really want to be here with us, show me your determination and walk all the way to our house under the blistering sun. Hold on for a second. You want me to walk to your house when it's this hot out? I understand now that you don't want to come here to get me, but I can still get a taxi to take me there, right? Nope. What? If you do something like that, then you're definitely never going to get my approval to marry my son. Come here with your own strength and show me how much you want to be in this family. Are you seriously saying all that right now? That's quite a long distance to your house from here. Should only take you an hour and a half to get here if you hustle, right? Do you not want my approval, Rose? Even if you say you're my son's wife, to me you're just a complete stranger, and my husband and I don't give rides to complete strangers. You are going to walk under the scorching sun from the airport, or else you'll lose any chance of becoming part of the family. All right. Then I'll be waiting for you. I understand that you won't accept me any other way, so I'll start walking, but is this really what you want from me? Just hurry up and start walking. If you can't make it in time for lunch, you'll have to wait until dinner to eat. Okay then, I'll be on my way over right now. I'm walking right now. What do you want? You have called me almost 200 times now, and my voicemail is full. Rose, where are you right now? I told you that I'm walking and still a ways away from your house. I'm going to come to you as soon as I can, so please tell me what street you're on. Why are you saying that now? Could this be because you heard about how I've been supporting your husband's company financially with over $300,000 now? What $300,000? What are you talking about? So you haven't heard about that from your husband yet then, huh? Then why are you trying to get a hold of me so frantically? My husband has started to worry about why you're not at our house yet, so I'm worked up now. I told him that when I went to go and get you without him, I wasn't able to find you and came back home. And he became frustrated with me because he expected that I look for you if you weren't there waiting for me. Well, he is right to be frustrated by that. Normally, you'd never just get up and go home without the person you came out to get, right? But really, you didn't even come to the airport to get me in the first place. And what's this about you financing my husband's company? I haven't heard anything about that from him yet. Well, my family's company has been working to help finance your husband's company for a bit now. And my parents were actually planning to come out here later today on a separate flight to see you both. Wait, does that all have to do with why my husband told me he needed to run into his office and gather a lot of paperwork today? I'm sure that was all to prepare for seeing my parents in person this time. They've already decided on helping your husband's company out, but there are still talks about how much we'll give. And today was supposed to be the day that something like that was decided on. That's probably why your husband had to run to his office and prepare the documents needed for said meeting, right? Well, your husband has been busy with all of that. I was planning on having you get me from the airport, but you never came. I'm sure he's worried now about how things will play out with my parents now. Well, I never knew anything about that. Since when did you all start talking about helping him with his company? Whether you knew about it before this or not, things wouldn't have changed. What you've done to me today has really shaped the future between us and opened my eyes to the true you. Anyway, I'm going to take my time walking over. It's super hot out and I'm getting tired, but... He's still asking me why you haven't arrived yet, and it's a problem for me now. A problem for you. This is what you wanted to happen, right? It was, but I didn't actually consider something like that happening. Maybe you should just tell your husband the truth then? Tell him that you told me you'd come and get me, but when I arrived at the airport, you took back your word and said that I needed to walk to your house. I never meant it as a bad thing towards you or anything. Well, if this wasn't done out of hate towards me, then why did you do it? I think it's best you tell your husband that you demanded that I walk to your house all the way from the airport. I'm sorry, but I don't believe there's anyone that would ask that from someone with any reasoning besides bullying the person they've asked. Are you trying to mess with me right now? There's no way I could say something like that to him. If I were to, what would he end up saying back to me? I believe that it's you that's been messing with me, Kelly. Huh? Are you still not aware that everything you've been saying today has been you trying to make me suffer? Well, it doesn't matter what your real intentions were for this, because everyone will soon find out what you did to me. What are you talking about, Rose? I'm saying that if I'm asked about what happened to me today, I'm telling them the truth. Who will you tell that to? Well, to your husband and Nathan. If they ask why I was so late in arriving at your house, I'll tell them the truth. And I'll show them all the texts you sent me. What? You plan to say such needless things to them? These are very important things that I'll be telling them, since they're all the truth. I'm not doing any of this to spite you. Rather, I'm just giving them the true answer. Please, don't say a thing about this. If either of those two find out, I'll be in huge trouble. Well, if this were going to get you into huge trouble, then you never should have done it in the first place. But you've already gone through with it, so it's over for you. But I'm telling you that I'll come and get you now. All you have to do is tell me where you're at and everything will be fine, right? Even if you do plan to come get me, it's far too late. I've already walked this far because of you, so your intentions are well known. I'm going to continue walking all the way there just so I can savor the hate I have for you. I'm telling you that you don't need to walk anymore. I'll come out and get you. You told me to walk an hour and a half through this horrible summer heat, and now you want to stop me halfway and come get me? It's too late for you, Kelly. You've said more than enough now. I never knew anything about you and your family, though, so I didn't think you could do anything to me. Please allow me to come and get you. And then you won't have to tell my husband and son anything unnecessary. I get that you're in a panic and want to come get me. But you demanded that I do this, so I'll go until the end. Even if that leads to your husband and Nathan learning the truth and getting pissed at you, that'll have nothing to do with me. Please don't say things like that. I'll be in huge trouble if they find out. Well, you asked for it. And now you've gotten what you wished for, and you have to be there to bear responsibility for it. Rose, I'm so sorry. I apologize for being such a jerk to you today. Can you please agree to keep this one event a secret between us? No thanks. Why not? I'm not even asking much from you right now. Do you really think you can say no to that? I do, actually. I have a right to say no to you now. What you've done today has shown me your true character, and so I can do whatever I want with that knowledge now. And along with that, I don't have to care about what you think about my actions, because you never bothered to hide your true self from me. I really did want to become close to you and all, but I can see that that's not what you wanted. That's not true! I do want to become close to you, Rose. It's not too late for the both of us to become really good in-laws. It is too late. You made yourself believe that I was only in this for your guys' money. But if you heard about how my family is going to support your husband's company, you would have never thought to say that, right? Well, it's too late now. So now do your best and tell all of this to your husband and son for me. And if you won't, I promise I'll hold no truth back from them. In the end, Kelly's husband and son ended up learning the truth about what happened with Rose, and they proceeded to tear her a new one before getting into the car and heading on the road to go find Rose. They both called Rose a couple of times before she finally answered them. But by that point, she was already very close to the house, and so she had already been on the move for over an hour in the super hot heat. When they did get to her, she was covered in sweat and would later up having some horrible sunburns because she didn't even have any sunscreen on her at the time. After getting back to the house, everyone began to ask Kelly why she did this to Rose. But after she kept beating around the bush about it, the rest of the family banned her from joining them for dinner. They then left the house without Kelly and watched fireworks for the rest of the evening while helping rub some much-needed aloe all over Rose so the burns didn't bother her as much. Following the dinner and fireworks, though, everyone came back to the house where Kelly finally did tell everyone her reason for doing this to Rose, and that led to Nathan telling his mom he was cutting ties to her. He said that he could never have someone as his mother who would go to such lengths over such a pathetic excuse, and would make sure that she'd never have the chance to talk to Rose again. And as for her husband, he was appalled by her reasoning and told her that he'd be moving to a new house and away from her. Just as his son had said, he didn't want to give her the chance of coming around the family again, but also wanted to make sure that she didn't get in the way of the business he'd worked so hard for. Kelly then panicked and tried to apologize to everyone for what she'd done, but by that point, everyone only ignored her pleas for forgiveness and gave her the coldest shoulder. By that night, everyone had left the house and left Kelly there to go stay at a hotel near the airport, where her husband and Rose's parents could continue to talk about the financing in peace. Luckily for everyone, my parents did end up going through with the plans that had been made for helping finance the business and keeping it going, so there were no more worries there. Kelly really did take things too far this time, and now she's having to pay for it by not only losing her own family, but also losing any income into her life. As for what'll happen next to her, there's only anxiety surrounding it, I'm sure. But if I were her, I'd at least start by finding a job soon, or else those missed payments on the bills to that house will have her seeing a new world without a roof over her head. Hello, Caroline. Are you there? Please reply if you're reading this. I wanted to ask you something. You married my son 2 years ago and came to live with us, but you're still working. Why is that? When are you going to quit that silly job of yours? You're going to be 30 in a few months, you know, right? You also know that my husband runs a company and someone has to take over that company after your husband. I suggest you start getting busy bringing a new member to this family. A male heir who will take over the company one day. Have you even put any thought into having a child? Besides, I sure would like to see a grandson soon. Good morning, Mother. I think I mentioned this numerous times, but the person that will take over as the president of your husband's company will be determined on merit. That's how your husband wants it. He's not going to have a family member just take over because this person is a relative. Well, that's all very virtuous and all, but that's not the real world, Caroline. In reality, my husband's company has been run by 3 generations of this family. It's been handed down from father to son for generations, and our company has profited because of it. Merit alone will not suffice. There is a little thing called tradition, which you seem to be lacking, Caroline. It has already been decided that your husband James will eventually take over as the next company president, and after him, his son, my grandson. Yes, well, tradition is all very good and all, but times have changed, Mother. I'm not saying it's wrong. If the person taking over is competent, whether that be James or someone else, I'm all for it. Will you stop contradicting me? You always find a way to refute everything I say. My husband has informed me that you are a very competent and reliable employee, but your competence and this issue are completely different. You are in no position to determine company policy. You're just another employee. I suggest you keep your nose out of it. I think that applies to you more than it does to me, don't you think? Pardon me? The person that will be promoted to that position concerns all the employees, and that person's decisions affect us all. You've never in your life worked at your husband's company. It seems obvious that it's you that has no right to decide who becomes the next company president or any other position. How dare you? How could you say that? I'm this company president's wife, for God's sakes. I certainly do have the right. Yes, I'm quite aware of that, but that makes no difference whatsoever. Makes no difference? Have you lost your mind, Caroline? I'm in possession of all my faculties, thank you. Do you really think that just because you're the president's wife that you can make such an important decision? Well, I have the right to. Just doesn't seem logical to me is all. This is getting nowhere. All you have to do is just stop complaining and work on giving us a grandson so that someday he will be able to take over this company and continue this long-established custom. If you have time to spurt such nonsense, I suggest you use your time more wisely by having a child. Right now, I'm giving my work priority above all, and I've talked long and hard about this with Jim. Pardon me? I know you complain to Jim about this matter all the time, and he gets irritated because you're so bull-headed about it. But could you not take that frustration out on me? I have other things to worry about. Jim said that? I wasn't trying to be difficult or anything. Just so you know, Mother, Jim is sitting right next to me and seeing this entire conversation. What? Are you serious? Why didn't you say so before? You better be ready for a line text from him later on, and it won't be a very pleasant one, I can tell you that. You tricked me into this, didn't you? You had him sit down and witness this conversation. How could you? Even if I denied such an absurd allegation, you wouldn't believe me, so what can I say? This is getting really exasperating, Mother. I really have to go. Goodbye. Caroline, are you seeing this? Answer me! I want you to come home right away and do a little cleaning. The place is a total mess. You married into this family and you live in this house. You have an obligation to do some of the chores. Sorry, Mother, I'm still at work and I have to do some overtime tonight. Got a project to finish up. Sorry. Are you serious? My husband left his position as president to become the chairman. There is not much time left for you to get to work conceiving a child. And why are you still working? There's no need. I want you to resign and stay home and fulfill your role as a wife. Excuse me? You want me to be an obedient little housewife? Is that it? Are you all right, Mother? You know I'm not the type. Like I said, I give my work priority above all. Are you still going on about that? Anyways, Jim did the cleaning as soon as he got home earlier. He just sent me a line saying that he finished. Wait, you're having James clean the house? Don't tell me he's also cooking. Yes, sometimes, anyways. We're not even living together anymore. How could you even know the place is a mess? We both share household chores. When he's busy, I do the cleaning and cooking. That's what we agreed on. I don't need you telling us what to do. Don't tell me you want me to come to your house and clean too. Is that what you're getting at? Is that what a housewife has to do? This sounds like your typical mother-in-law pestering her son's wife kind of scenario, like in some daytime soap opera. We didn't opt to live near you guys just so you would pester us day and night. How could you say that? It's a mother's duty to look after her son and, in extension, his wife. To pass the experiences of being the wife of a company president. I'm sorry, Mother, but before you start with all the same old hot air again, I received permission from Jim to respond however I saw fit. Just so you're aware. Jim gave you permission? And what's this about hot air? Also, I'm going to be pretty busy with this current project, so if you send me any messages that sound like the same old spiel, well, I'm simply not going to respond. Wait, what? So you're just going to ignore me, is that it? Yes, I already got Jim's permission to do it. Jim would never allow such a thing. I better have a talk with him about this nonsense. I really can't have you interfering with my work. We're in a crucial phase now, so I would appreciate your cooperation, Mother. You really know how to anger someone, Caroline. Yeah, well, whatever. How could you just ignore your mother-in-law, for Christ's sake? Always giving your work priority and shunning your responsibilities at home. What kind of a wife are you, anyway? I will make you listen and obey me. Mark my words, Caroline. You'll regret talking to me that way. Mother, have you gone totally nuts? Why did you go into our house without permission? And why did you change the locks? How do you expect us to get in? Are you trying to lock us out of our own home? Do you realize what you're doing, Mother? And besides, where the hell did you get a spare key? I never gave you one, and neither did Jim. I simply took my son's key and had a spare made down at the mall. Hold on a second, Mother. You had a spare made without us knowing? Yes, when he visited us last month, I saw his key case on the kitchen table. And when Jim and my husband were watching that football game, I drove down to the mall and had a spare made. He never knew it was missing. You just went and made a spare key to our house? For what, may I ask? Yes, that's because you two would never give me one. Jim promised he would when you first moved in. If I don't have a spare, how am I supposed to go over there and check the place and see that you're doing your duty properly? Mother, do I really have to explain? Stop right there, Caroline. If you want to enter this house again, I suggest you admit that you were wrong and obey my every demand. I want you to pledge that you will never disobey me, the mother of your husband, the current company chairman. And you mustn't forget that I'm the current president's mother. I want your solemn oath that you will never ever again defy or refuse to obey your mother-in-law. I want your word or you're not entering this house. Wait a second. Did you just say the current president's mother? I'm not sure I understand you. That's right. Why is it so surprising? Just leave company matters to the current president. That would be my son and focus on conceiving a child. You're the president's wife. There's no reason for you to work. Do as I say, Caroline, or there will be consequences. If you're so dedicated to your job, well, you can continue, but that means you'll have to divorce my son. And that's final. Oh, okay. So that's what you want me to do, huh? You want me to just resign from this company? Am I understanding you correctly, Mother? That's exactly what I'm trying to tell you. Have you finally gotten that through your little head? There are plenty of other employees that can take your place. That's what a company is for. You work, and when your time comes, you retire to raise a family. It's the normal course of things. Simply just resign and focus on bringing us a grandson. That's your role. It's about time you learned that, Caroline. Oh, okay, Mother. That means we'll just have to see the demise of this company, I suppose. You're joking, right? The company won't go under just because one of its employees resigns. You hold yourself in too much regard, my dear. Mother, you never fail to astound me. I really thought you had the company's survival in mind and that you were serious in your concern regarding who would take over as president, but then you tell me that I have to resign, and not for the good of the company, but to have a baby. What are you trying to say, Caroline? My concern for the company and the family are clear-cut and logical. There is nothing irrational or unjustifiable about what I'm saying. Oh, but it is completely irrational in my opinion. Okay, so if you think what I'm saying is so irrational, then explain that to me. Which part of it is it that you find so unreasonable? Like I said, you attach too much importance to yourself. It embarrasses me whenever you applaud yourself, extolling the virtues of your own work all the time. I mean, how arrogant do you have to be to say the company will go bankrupt if you quit? My God, the audacity! Mother, I hate to tell you this, but I'm the new president of the company. Say again? What did you just say? I said, I'm the new president of the company. I recently took over. I'm surprised you didn't know. Stop joking around, Caroline. I'm serious. This is no laughing matter. This concerns the future of our family. The next president has already been determined, ever since he was born, as a matter of fact. How could he give that position to you, please? Then why don't you ask your husband or contact Jim right now and ask him? They will both tell you the same thing. Or you could even call the office and every employee there will tell you the same thing. This is some kind of prank, right? And what about James? What's James going to do? If he's not president, is he just a regular employee? That can't be. Jim's set to resign by the end of next month. Again, I'm surprised you didn't know. Resign? You're saying he's going to quit the company? Yes, he says he has other objectives, so for now he'll work freelance and see how things go. Freelance? Meaning he's not even going to be employed by a company? Yes, for a while, I guess, after which he says he will eventually start his own company. Start his own company? But why can't he just take over this company? Why would he start his own? Don't tell me you don't even know about that. I thought for sure you would know that. I didn't realize there was such a lack of communication in your family. Jim said that when he went to visit last time, he brought it up several times. He did? I never... He told me that your husband and Jim discussed this possibly years ago. Jim wanted his advice. After all, your husband built his company from scratch. Who better to get advice from, right? Huh? Really? And this was all before Jim and I got married. Neither my husband nor Jim mentioned anything. Oh, and as a side note, as for being selected as president of the company, both Jim and his father were explicit in their decision that I keep my business matters separate from my personal ones, meaning even if I became president, it would not affect our personal lives. And this decision does not mean that because Jim was not selected as president that I stole it from him. Please don't get that idea. Why wasn't I told about this? This is important. My husband nor Jim gave any clue as to what was going on. Caroline, answer me right this second. Why is my husband divorcing me? What did I do that was so wrong? Ever since you arrived, this family has gone totally haywire. You ruined our family, Caroline. And why did Jim throw away the opportunity to become the president of his own family business? And now he's a freelancer? Why? And my husband, he didn't lift a finger to stop him. As a matter of fact, he encouraged him to quit and become a freelancer. What has gotten into everyone? You put a jinx on this family, Caroline. But the worst was yet to come. They appointed you as the next president of our company? How did you manage to dupe everyone? And now my husband wants a divorce? This is like some nightmare. Well, for one thing, you came barging into the offices of our company announcing to everyone of your status as the president's wife, screaming and demanding that your son be appointed president and that after him, our non-existent son, your grandson, be in line to take over after him. That didn't go over too well, especially with your husband. He was humiliated in front of all of his employees. Well, I only did that to protect our... If that security guard hadn't stopped you, you were going to come barging into my office and make a scene. Weren't you? But your actions were futile. A complete waste of time. Did you really think that you would be able to change policy or any decision the company makes? You have zero authority to make such demands. But I'm the president's wife! It doesn't matter, Mother. I'm sure your husband told you many times about his frustration with the old traditions. That generation after generation you select a family member as president. It just didn't sit right with him. He wanted a more merit-based system. He believed a more equal and fair playing field would allow the company to grow beyond its wildest dreams, instead of clinging to old traditions. No, he never meant those things. He was always a family man, always followed tradition. Please, Caroline, talk to my husband and ask him to rescind this silly divorce. He doesn't need to do this. I'll change. Please convince him. I really can't do that, Mother. It's really not my concern. Why? Why can't you at least do this little favor for me? Please, Mother, work it out yourself. I have nothing whatsoever to do with your marriage. It's kind of late. I have to get some sleep. Goodbye. Please, Caroline, help me. Okay, I'll give you my blessing. How's that? I give you my blessing that you become the next president. Will you then help me in return? And about who will take over after you, well, I'll leave that up to you and James. You two can make that final decision. I won't interfere at all. What do you say, Caroline? Please? Please convince my husband to think it over. Please. Caroline, are you still there? Please don't cut me off. Please, Caroline, I need your help. Actually, my father-in-law told her that he was considering me as the next president, but she just wouldn't listen. Her mind just seemed to shut down whenever he brought up the subject. She couldn't accept the fact. The only thing that was on her mind was that her son was destined to become the next president, and that the wife would have to stay at home and have babies. Eventually, I was appointed as the next president, but that fact never entered my mother-in-law's mind in the slightest. Her son was the only person in the world that would be appointed, and that was that. There was no convincing her. She was so programmed by her self-delusions, a form of self-hypnosis if you ask me. It was probably in that state of mind that made her barge into the office and cause the embarrassing scene in front of all those employees. My father-in-law was so infuriated by the incident that he began to question why he was even married to her, which eventually led him to file for divorce. After the divorce went through, she received a comfortable settlement and returned to her grandparents' home back east. But her spendthrift ways as the president's wife never really waned, and her savings quickly diminished. Her grandparents were worried that she would next target their meager savings and pension, and quickly cut ties with her. I heard she was living all alone in some beat-up apartment downtown doing various part-time jobs to make ends meet.